Hey gang, Jim Jacobus here, and welcome to the first webinar here of March. And it's good to be with you guys again. Seems like it's been forever since we were together, since we had an extra week in February there, and then March kind of hit a little bit late in the month. So it's good to be back with you guys, and excited about our program today. Coffee is for Closers. And if you remember the movie Glengarry Glen Ross, for those of you who may have a little more gray in your hair like me, it's a great movie, a very entertaining movie about sales. And if you've not seen it, I certainly encourage you to. I recommend that you see that movie. It's kind of a lot of fun in there. But one of the things in that movie is a young sales rep is getting ready to get some coffee, and the guy who's the sales manager says, "Sorry, you can't have any. Coffee is for closers." And certainly to be successful in sales, we've got to be able to close. And I chose that song today, Know Your Enemy, from Green Day, because most of the time when it comes to closing, we are our own worst enemy. So today we're going to talk about that, and I'm going to give you some ideas about closing that I think will help you. And I'm looking forward to sharing that with you. Plus, we've got a big announcement I want to do at the end of today's webinar about something that we're cranking up that I think you might be interested in. So first thing, again, I apologize. I always put this slide up here just kind of as a welcome slide. We are now up to almost 300. We're just short of 300 people registered for the webinar, and we have a lot of people joining new every time, so I just want to go through this real quick. This is the From Order Taker to Gladiator webinar series, and by series I mean that we do 2 of these every month, the second and fourth Wednesday of the month at 1 p.m. Central Standard Time. We always record these. If you're on here for the first time or you're listening to it for the first time, we always record it. I do provide the PowerPoint slides that you can look at. You're welcome to share the recording, share the slides with other people. We don't care. And if you'll check out the website there at ottgwebinars.wordpress.com, you'll find that we have a lot of other resources too, articles, just different things that we try to put up there to help people. You can follow us a number of different ways, and we're finding a lot of people use different methodologies. So if you're a Facebooker, just go to go to Facebook and search Order Taker to Gladiator. You'll find our Facebook page. You can hit like on it, and you'll automatically get our updates there. And for those of you who are following us by email or something like that, if you're on Facebook, do us a favor. Go to that page, find it for us, and hit the like button. We want to grow that Facebook page so that we wind up coming up at the top when we post stuff and more people see it. If you're a Twitter, you can follow us at Jim Jacobus on Twitter. We always hit that as well. And then if you go to the blog, ot2gwebinars.wordpress.com, and I'm probably going to turn that into a custom URL today, so it'll just be ottgwebinars.com. Anyway, you can go there, and if you like to follow blogs and stuff like that, just hit the RSS feed or subscribe to that blog, and you will get the information on a regular basis. That is where we post all of the webinar recordings. So if you're brand new, this is your first time on, and I see we've got some new people here today, and you want to go back and check out some of the old webinars that we've done since the end of last year, then you can find all the old webinars there as well. So those are the different ways to follow us. We do have a YouTube channel. I didn't get that URL today, but I will get that up for you if you like to follow on YouTube as well. And we encourage you. Share this with other people. Tell other people about it. Matter of fact, I would challenge you or encourage you or cajole you or whatever you want to ask, but whatever you want to use. But I challenge you. Invite other people to join us. I know we've got a lot of great salespeople out there. If you're a member of a sales force, then do me a favor. Next time you get one of our emails, forward it out to all your other salespeople and say, hey, I encourage you to join this. It's been valuable to me, and I certainly hope it is. It's been valuable to me. I encourage you to join in. If you're one of my speaker buddies, a professional speaker that's on here, I know you got a lot of people that are professional speakers, then share that with your NSA chapter, share that with your NSA buddies and our other speakers. If you're a small business owner, and I know we've got a lot of small business owners here, I recognize the names and know a lot of you very well, then I would encourage you share that with your other friends that are in small business. So I encourage you, share it with others. We want to grow the community as large as we can and just keep pumping out this information and having a good time with it. So let's go. Today we're going to talk about closing, and I'm going to start with a poll, all right, kind of see where everybody's at on this. And let's see here. Let me open up the poll and select it. And I just want to get a sense, okay, of where you feel like you are from a closing standpoint. So the question today, our first poll is, how good of a closer are you? And that's up there. We're not going to leave it up for very long, but I'll let you guys kind of post on there. Just kind of click on where you, there's the first person says, I am dying for some caffeine, all right? Okay, somebody says they get all they want. And we're getting, okay, all right, we're getting close to 50% have responded. Now we're getting over that. Good, there we go. Everybody's kind of clicking in there. Awesome. And I'm going to leave this up for about another 10 seconds here. See if we can't get everybody to respond. I know some of you guys are just listening in or got it turned on, but the sound turned down, so you may not even hear what's going on here. But we got 100%, so I'm going to go ahead and close the poll. And let me share this with you, all right? Here's what we've got. 13% say, I get all the coffee I want. All right, 33% of you say, I think I'm fair at closing. 27% said middle of the road. 20% said not quite where I want to be. And 7% said I am dying for some caffeine. So awesome there. Now, one other thing I want to familiarize you with here is how you can communicate with everybody during the poll, during the webinar. So if you'll look down there on your dashboard, there's a little deal that says questions, where you can post a question if you want to. So if you've got a question during the webinar today, go ahead and write something in there. Just type it in, and I'll try to get to all the questions before we get through. But let me get you to test it out by typing in today where you're at, where are you coming from, or if you're on the road, where do you live? Type in there where you're from, just so I can get an idea where everybody's coming from today. We get people from all over the world on the webinar, so be anxious to see where everybody's coming from. So do me a favor, test out the question box there. All right, first person's right here close to home. Okay, Fort Worth, there we go. Land of the TCU Horned Frogs, that's where my son went to school. Okay, who else we got here? Kansas, awesome. Oklahoma City, remote office, McDonald's 249 in 1960, awesome. All right, Alberta, Canada. There we go. Super. What? Wichita, Kansas. Awesome. All right, let's see here. There we go. We've got Australia on the board again. That's the one I was looking for. We're international here today. So anyway, that's exciting. We talked about in the past, what does it take to be successful? We talked about that be, do, have equation, and how important it is, these 4 pieces: process, learning to build level 5 trusted advisor relationships, master the value proposition selling, and then being an A player. And we're going to zero in on this process stuff. And like I said last time, when we start talking about the process, there's 8 steps, and that really opens up a lot of room for us to converse or talk about a lot of subject matters that I think are really critical. And those steps are planning, prospecting, first impressions, qualifying, demonstrating, influencing, closing, and then the follow-up process. All of these are critical. We talked last time. If you leave one of them out, then the whole process isn't as strong as it could possibly be. And so I'd ask some of you guys to let me know what you wanted to cover first, and a couple of you emailed me. You wanted to talk about closing, so here we are. We're going to talk about closing, and then our webinar in 2 weeks from now, on the 28th, we're going to talk about first meetings. And there is a very definitive strategy for first meetings I think you're going to like. And whether that meeting is face-to-face or over the telephone or however it works, we're going to give you some great strategies for that, and kind of up there in that planning, prospecting, and first impressions category, as well as qualifying too. So anyway, so let's look at closing. And the first thing I want to talk about is what closing is not, all right? And closing is not, and I think it's really important because I see a lot of people teaching some things that I think are, I've been to all the classes. I've got a couple of books on my shelf here about closing. I've got the 227 closings you have to master book, and I just think through the years closing has been taught in a lot of ways that aren't particularly effective. Okay, hang on. I'm getting a message that I went silent. Are we back now? Yeah, I lost audio. Sound is out. Okay, we're good now. Good. Thanks, guys. So I keep an eye on that. So if something's going on, let me know. I appreciate it. The system did kind of give me a little quick flash here. It said the audio might be out. Losing again. Okay, it keeps going in and out. Okay, I'll try to see what I can do about that. A lot of times it's the internet connection, and we've been experiencing some internet problems. Blame it on solar flares. All right, so we'll blame it on solar flares today. Let's talk a little bit about what closing is not. Okay, and first thing, it's not cornering a client into making a decision. And I mean, I see a lot of that alternative choice, and it's whole designed to kind of corner a client into making a decision and position them so they have to say yes. And the curriculum guys use that, and no disrespect to them, because I couldn't do their job by any means, but you know what I'm talking about, where you use closing techniques to kind of back a customer into a client. We don't want to do that. And the other thing is manipulating someone into making a decision that is not in their best interest. And gang, I've always taught, and you guys have heard me talk about it in here, selling is the most honorable profession on the planet when done right. And when I think it's done right, it means that we care about the customer, we care about our company, and we also care about our own personal business. But we put the customer's needs ahead of just making a sale. And we need to make sure we do that. And I see way too many people that manipulate customers into buying something because they've got a quota, or their boss is on their neck. It's just short term. I mean, that is such short-term thinking, and we'll never build a great business if we're doing that. So we don't want to manipulate anybody into doing something that they shouldn't do, that's not in their best interest. Now, I will say this, okay, if it's truly in their best interest and they're just struggling to make the decision, we need to share with them everything we can to get them to make that decision. If we truly believe it's good for them and good for their business or good for them personally, we need to make sure that we do everything we can to put our product or service in their hand. I think we have a responsibility to do that, but we don't want to do it at the cost of being manipulative or anything of that nature. All right, the other thing is, closing is not about some huge victory over an opponent. And I've seen way too much of this go on, where salespeople and sales management, this is a battle, and we've got to beat the client. I was attending some sort of a preview of some sales training, and it's a very well-known nationwide system. There are offices all across the nation, and I'd been invited to come and watch as a part of a group that I was already in. And so I went to watch, and I was so appalled in that the biggest part of the training was about how you nail down customers and how you get them to commit and how you get them to do all this thing so that they can't back out, and so that they won't lie to you, and so that they won't take advantage of you. And I got to tell you, that was so distasteful to me, for somebody to be looking at sales like that and teaching it that way. I actually got a little irritated, and I raised my hand and I said, I don't know about anybody else in the room, but I don't deal with people that lie to me and take advantage of me and want to cheat me and everything. I just don't have that many customers like that. And gang, I've been doing this for 20 years, teaching it and training it and consulting with extraordinarily large clients, medium clients, small clients all over the world. And, I know that not every customer's, completely honest and all that. This guy looked at me and he said, well, you must not have much experience, because all customers lie. And that did kind of raise the hair on the back of my neck. I said, well, maybe the customers you deal with. But two things. One is, the people I deal with are honorable people with a lot of integrity and character. And second thing is, if they're liars, I don't have time for them. So if somebody wants to lie to me, then they can go do business with somebody else. But my experience is that customers are just like us. They're trying to get the best product they can, service they can, at a great value, and I look at them that way. So this is not about crushing somebody, it's just not like that. I hate to see any of us looking at it that way. And the other thing is, it's not the end of the world, okay? When somebody does not buy, we close and they don't buy, all right? All that says to me is, I haven't done a good job of going through the process. Now, this may be a little kind of foreign to some thinking out there, but rather than go, well, they don't know any better, or they're not very smart, or obviously they're not very intelligent, or, any of the other ways, I look in the mirror and go, what have I not done well? Now, literally, you could take all of those steps in the process that we talked about just a minute ago and ask ourselves, was it a failure to plan? Did I not plan very well, and somehow I wound up in front of a customer I don't need to be in front of? And was I prospecting inappropriately? Is this not a good prospect? Did I give a lousy first impression? Did I qualify poorly, and so consequently what I presented is not what they wanted? I wasn't listening to them. Did I qualify well and present poorly so they didn't really understand the value proposition and what I'm selling? Or perhaps, perhaps I did a great job of presenting, but I didn't answer the objections the way that were asked. I wasn't able to clear up the objections they had. So any of those things may have gone wrong, and rather than looking at the customer and thinking there's something wrong with them, I need to look in the mirror and go, was there something in the process that I didn't do a very good job? So anyway, that's what I wanted to say. When it's not the end of the world, it's just simply a way for us to figure out, okay, what have I not done properly here, and then go back and retrace our steps and see if we can't do a better job of it. So this is not the end of the world, and is I think really important. It's not some huge, gigantic crescendo event that the whole world rides on. If we start making closing about, the whole world rides on closing this deal instead of what it really should be, then we're going to put a lot of pressure on ourselves. Here's what I think closing is, all right? Closing is simply a series of small steps leading to an agreement. And that could be simply an agreement to have a meeting. It could be an agreement to send them some information. It could be an agreement to do a presentation. It could be all of these things are closes. All right, it's not one gigantic deal. It's just a natural step-by-step process, little bitty small steps that lead to an agreement. That's what closing is. Like I said, it's not one big, huge crescendo event and everything. And by the way, closing is part of the deal. For years, we've been giving away what we call these attitude buttons and things like that. And one of the attitude buttons says just POTD, means it's just part of the deal. If we're going to be successful in selling, whether we're a sales rep for somebody, we're a professional speaker, we're a small business owner, any of these things where we're persuading other people, closing is part of, it's part of the process. And I like this deal here. I heard this a long time ago. If we don't ask, the answer is always no. So it's our job to ask. It's our responsibility to ask. It's part of the deal. It's part of the territory with being somebody who's in the business of persuading and selling people, whether that's frontline or business, whatever. And for managers, it's the same thing too. So we've got to be willing to ask, and for goodness sake, what's the worst they can do to us, all right? Yell at us or scream at us or laugh at us or tell us no, and then our answer's got to be next, all right? Who's next? Who do we talk to next? Closing is, rather than a battle that we do with the customer, it's really a collaborative effort to serve the client's best interest. And I think we need to look at that. And if we're doing a collaborative effort, then the next step and the next step and the next step isn't some big, oh my gosh, I hope they say yes kind of a deal. It's something they're participating in. And I think we need to look at it that way instead of some battle we're doing with somebody that's going to lie to us and all that. This is a collaborative effort to serve their best interest. And then the next thing is, this is my definition of closing, and I've been using this for a long time. This is what we teach in our workshops. Closing is simply moving to the next logical step at the client's pace. All right? The next logical step at the client's pace. And so I want to just kind of talk about that for a second, because I think that's so critical for us to see it that way. What's the next logical step? All right, and every customer is different. I mean, the next logical step after doing a presentation, they don't have any objections. They want to sign the contract. They want to buy the product. They say, go ahead and ship me 5,000 of those, or yes, we want to do that speaking engagement with you. It's the next logical step. Now, for others, it may mean they need more information. It may need that they, I was talking to a client the other day that we're talking to that's going to do a bunch of training. And he said, can you get me some references? And to me, that's the next logical step before he invests in, a six-figure training contract. And so I said, absolutely. And the fun thing is, I asked him if he wanted 5, 10, 15, or 20. How many does he want? I mean, we've got 1,100 plus clients in our database, and so when he says, can you get me some references, my question is going to be, absolutely, how many would you like? And I did say, would you like 5, 10, 15, or 20? And he looked at me and just smiled, and he said, give me 3 or 4 good ones. I said, okay. And, you know, I mean, I'm closing when I said, would you like 5, 10, 15, or 20? That's a closing statement. All right, next logical step. And the other thing is at their pace, guys. And I can't stress that highly enough either. I mean, I'm a 90-mile-an-hour guy. If you look at my behavioral assessment, I'm a high D, high I. I move 90 miles an hour, but not every client does. Okay, and what I've got to learn how to do is there are clients out there that want to go 5 miles an hour. And I can do one of two things. I can continue to go 90 miles an hour, run right over them, or I can slow down to 5 miles an hour, match their pace, next logical step at their pace, and be successful with them. Or I can do the next logical step at my pace and my logical step and run right over the top of them and not get the opportunity to do business with them. All right. Now, if you're a 5 mile an hour person, and again, I know plenty of salespeople that are. I used to work with a guy a long, long time ago named Morris Mudd. All right, and he was exactly what his name said. He was slow as mud, but he was one of the most successful salespeople I ever met because he could turn the pace up when he needed to. So if you're a 5 mile an hour person, you tend to do things very slowly, very cautiously, very methodically. That's fine. You'll make the 5 guy an hour feel very comfortable without even having to try. But if you've got a customer who wants to go 50 miles an hour or they want 90 miles an hour, then we've got to turn the speed up so that we can appear to be what that customer is looking for, somebody who matches their pace. So next logical step, at the client's pace. And I tell you what, if you don't take anything away from this webinar other than that, do me a favor, write that down. That's really, that's critical stuff right there. Somebody asked the question, what is POTD? POTD stands part of the deal. It's just part of the deal. And, you know, we use that a lot when things come up, you know, well, my company's doing this and everything. Okay, it's part of the deal. All right, deal with it, move on. So these are the kinds of things that are just part of being a sales rep. Okay, any questions about what closing is or closing is not? Because I'm going to share with you my 3 favorite closes today. So anybody have any questions about what closing is or closing is not right now? Yes, no, I don't see anything popping up here. All right, can I get an amen or good to go, or we want to learn the 3 closes that are your favorites? Somebody give me something here to work with. And I will move to the next page. Okay, I got nothing from you guys. Come on, gang. Are we going? Okay, there we got a GoDaddy. All right, move on. Yeah, buddy. Can I get an amen somewhere in here? Can I get an amen? All right. I've got hands raising up too. That's good. Okay, well, let's move on. Amen. I got one. Hallelujah. Okay. Now, here's my 3 favorite closes. And again, all those other closes, you know, asking questions, you know, and stuff like that, that are part of qualifying and moving the thing forward. I mean, I'm not going to tell you not to use those. I think we ought to be careful about them as long as we're using them for the right reasons. We're not trying to manipulate or corner somebody. That's fine. But my 3 favorite closes, kind of at crunch time. How about an hallelujah? I'll take that. At crunch time where we're trying to, you know, really take that next big step, or it's the big decision, or it's, you know, contract time. You know, again, not being a huge crescendo deal, but it is an important part of the process. These are my 3 favorite closes. And the first one is good, better, best. All right. Client says, how much is that going to cost? Or what do you think we ought to do? Or what's your recommendation? Or I'm putting together a proposal. I love good, better, best. Okay. A couple of reasons why. One is it allows me to bracket the least expensive recommendation that I have, and then on one end, and on the other end, you know, if they bought everything, if they did the whole 9 yards, whistles and bells and everything, what would that cost? Now, what that allows me to do is I can give them an idea of what the range is, all right, from the low end of what I'd be willing to do, what would be kind of in the middle, and then what would be the best case scenario. Now, there's a couple of things I like about this is that it allows me then to go over it with the client and kind of get a sense of what they think they can afford, what they really want. I can point out the benefits of each of the different pieces of it all. And if they can't afford best, all right, then I can take a few things out and move them into the better category. All right, so by using good, better, best, I give them a broad range of investment that they can make so that, it's easier for them to make a decision. Now, here's the other reason why I love this close. What does everybody want? You think everybody wants good when there's best out there? No, everybody wants best. Now, they may not be able to afford it, but I can assure you this. If you'll use this good, better, best approach, you'll move your sales up a little bit. You may move them up 15%, 20%, maybe 30% because the client wants some of what is best. Now, every now and then I'll have somebody say, hey, look, good's fine. I go, okay, that's fine, because that's the minimum I'm willing to do and the minimum I'm willing to do it for. All right, but I can tell you what, using this good, better, best approach, you'll find that if normally you would sell $5,000 worth of product or services, you'll find out that you'll sell 6,000, 7,000, or even 8,000. All right, with them moving toward the best category. So that's one of my favorite ways to put together a proposal and to do perhaps a presentation on what we'd recommend to a client. My second favorite close is what I call the assumed sale close. And here's what I mean by that. If we have done everything the way we're supposed to, planning, prospecting, first impressions, qualifying, I've got clear about what their needs are, I know what they really value, I've done a great demonstration, I've handled all their objections effectively, and we've done this in a collaborative fashion, I just assume we're moving forward. And my body language will say that. My vocal language will say that. What I recommend we do will say that. And I just assume we're going to move forward. And again, doesn't mean they always do, but it's a sense of confidence, not arrogance, by the way, a sense of confidence that this is indeed in the customer's best interest and that we're going to move forward. So I like the assumed sale close. And when they say no, then I have to go back and say, where did I not do my job? What have I not done so that they would naturally move forward? So I like the assumed sale close. And then my favorite close of all, and I've been teaching this, like I said, for 20 years and was using it, for 17 years before that and teaching other sales reps. This is my favorite close, and I'm even going to give you the language for this close to use, and I would encourage you to memorize this and start using it. It's the next logical step at the client's pace close. All right. I just talked just a minute ago that closing is moving to the next logical step at the client's pace. So I said, yay, the language. All right. So here's the language for that. Okay. And again, you'll have a copy of this. I'll send them to you. You guys can keep them. And I would encourage you, you got to memorize this exactly the way it goes. So here's what it looks like. All right. I've got a good buddy. His name's Kurt. So I use his name. And he listens to these and is a manager. Crud. Somebody says the internet's dying out again. Is that right? I want to make sure we've got are we good out there? Are you guys hearing it okay right now? Okay. Yes, no. How are we doing on sound? Can you guys hear me? Okay, it's kind of bouncing in and out. I'm sorry, guys. My apologies. Here's the next logical step close. Kurt, I've been selling and teaching salespeople all my life, and quite frankly, I hate all of those lame, old-school closing techniques we've been taught through the years. Now, that's kind of my language. I have real informal language with clients, even with CEOs, and I've worked with lots of them at high levels, and I tend to have just kind of that very sort of simple, not very lofty language. And Kurt, look, I've been selling salespeople how to close all my life, and quite frankly, I hate all those lame old school closes. So I've basically come to the conclusion that closing is nothing more than moving to that next logical step at your pace. So based on what we've talked about today, what does that look like to you? Okay, that's it. I mean, that's as simple as I can make it. I mean, and you can, tweak that however you want to, but it really comes down to a couple things. One is say, look, and by the way, if you read this, think about what's going on here. What am I communicating? I have been selling and teaching salespeople all my life, all right? And quite frankly, I hate those lame, old-school closing techniques we've been taught through the years. I'm establishing credibility here, by the way, in making this statement. And so however I make it, it's really about kind of allowing the customer to get a sense that, I have an idea what I'm doing here. I've been in this place on a number of occasions. I've kind of come to the conclusion that closing is nothing more than moving to the next logical step at whatever speed you're ready to go. Okay, so next logical step, Kurt, at whatever speed you want to go. I'm not putting pressure on him to jump from A to Z. You know, if they're not ready, they haven't, you know, they don't have everything they need. I've not made my case yet. You know, whatever's going on, whatever I have not done effectively, I'm not assuming that we're going to go from point A to point B, that they're not ready to go yet. On the other hand, if he's ready to go from A to Z, then I've opened the door for him to go, hey, we're ready to go. Let's get this done. All right. And then at his pace. All right. I can't do this right now. I'm going to need till next Thursday. Not a problem. So based on where we're at today, what would that look like to you? Okay. How does that look, guys? Does that make sense? Is that something you could use out there? Okay. Let me see here. Tell me what you think about that close. Is that a good one? Can you use that? I get a yep. I get amen. Yeah. Somebody says, I like it. It's not intimidating at all. No, it's not. I mean, this is a collaborative effort closing deal. And, you know, some of my buddies in the car business we work in may not like that much because they feel like if they don't get them today, they're not going to get them at all. Let's see here. Another comment says, take the pressure off and has kind of a relationship twist to it. Absolutely. All right. So we're collaboratively coming to a decision. And again, I'm using this close 90% of the time now. And again, the other 90% of the time, other 10% of the time, I like the, I always use good, better, best. Anytime I'm doing a proposal, it's always going to have good, better, best in it. Even if they told me they want X, then I'm going to give them, you know, X, Y, and Z. Because I want them to see what's possible on both sides of what they're asking for. Or if they're asking for the cheapest one, I want them to see what the upgrade looks like. So I always use that. And the other, you just assume that we're moving forward if everything looks like that. But if I'm in a closing situation where we're trying to make it a kind of a bigger decision and everything, then I'm going to use this next logical step close. Okay, only issue, a lot of clients aren't able to define next steps very well. Absolutely. Absolutely. I couldn't agree more. Let's see here. Who said that? Marty. Okay, is it Marty? Anyway, Marty, I agree with you. And so what that allows the client to do is to say, well, you know what? I'm not sure exactly what the next steps are. So let's talk about those next steps. What could they be? Now we can collaboratively work with them to identify what the next step is. So I think that's a good idea, and I appreciate you saying that. That's a good point. And even with the clients not sure what the next steps are, now we can collaboratively figure those out. So cool. Somebody else says they like the good, better, best. You bet. Awesome. Okay. Any questions, gang? Any thoughts here? Questions so far? Okay. Yes, no, maybe. Yeah. Nope. Good to go. All right. Good. Cleared them all off there. So I've got a little deal where I can clear all these questions and everything, so make sure that we get it right. Well, hey, I've only got one more thing for you today. I'm really excited about this. Let me kind of jump over here, tell you what the announcement is. I currently have a group coaching process. I've got 15 people in it, and a lot of people that are on these calls and a lot of people in this community here, almost 300 people on the Order Taker to Gladiator webinars, have been asking me to start a new group, and so we're going to do that. I'm going to start a new coaching group, and I'm just going to give you the overall view of it here real quick. First thing is, like I said, I'm starting up a second sales coaching group. It's going to be limited to 15 people again. We found out that's a good number. That's what works in our other groups, so it's going to be limited to 15. And some of the particulars, again, 3 webinars a month, not these webinars. We're going to keep doing these. They'll keep being free. These will be additional webinars that are focused on the coaching group. And a lot of it's going to have to do with what the coaching group says they need the most and what they would get most value out of. And they're going to be a little more in-depth, a little more specific. So we'll be doing 3 webinars a month. And each person in the group will get 90 minutes of personal coaching a month. So a lot of people can't afford our personal coaching program. And I understand that. It's expensive, and bottom line is it's the only way I can make coaching economically, meet our economic model. But this particular deal allows it to be a lot less expensive on a personal basis. So each person gets the 3 webinars and 90 minutes of personal coaching a month. We do a full A-Players assessment package is included in the deal. And a couple of weeks ago, we talked about the behaviors, motivators, core skills, core competencies. We do an induction process to get zeroed in on what you're looking for and what do you want to get out of it on a personal basis for your personal coaching. And then unlimited within reason. And every now and then I have to have a conversation. Somebody said, look, you can't be texting me at 9 o'clock on a Saturday evening or, 7 a.m. on Monday morning. Okay, you can text, you can email, you can even call me, if you've got a big presentation coming up or you've got a question about something to do with strategy or, you're trying to manage your boss or something like that, or you got a business question, and quite frankly, a lot of it gets into just life stuff too. You've got a question about what's going on in your life. I mean, you can't effectively coach in any one area if people's lives aren't squared away. If that's what you want to work on, we can work on that as well. So you've got unlimited, quote, within reason, email, texting, and even phone access to coaching, just as often as you need it. And then there's a 100% money back guarantee if you're not satisfied with the program. So we're going to be launching this. We do have pages up on the OTTG webinar.wordpress.com site. So if you want to go check it out a little bit more, you want more information, even register there, you can check it out there. Or if you've got a question, you can email me, call me or whatever. I will be glad to answer those for you. Quick question here. Somebody says, how long does the group coaching process last? The one program that we're doing right now has been going on for 18 months. It's just an ongoing deal. If I lose somebody, I add somebody else on. We've just got so many people that want to get in right now. I need to start a second group. So that's a good question there. What we do ask is to commit to 6 months to yourself. All right, give it 6 months so that we can dig in, find out what's going on, create some strategies, actually start executing those strategies so that you can see a little bit more, you can see the success and everything. Let's see, do you still offer anything specifically for speakers? I'll tell you this, that a lot of the people that are asking to do this are speakers. And so there will be there'll be a lot of talk about that. Each time we do, let me give you an idea of what the hour looks like. We do an hour webinar. About 40 minutes of it is very specific selling stuff. And if I've got, 3 salespeople and 2 speakers and everything, I translate the stuff we talked about today into the language that's common to the group. In other words, they all kind of fall in the same categories. But we'll talk about if you're a speaker, then you do this. If you're a sales rep, you do that. So we do some translation there from the standpoint. But then after the first 40 minutes, we have about 20 minutes of Q&A, case study stuff. Here's what's going on with me, answering some questions. And again, what we find out is the questions people are asking are stuff that everybody wants to know. And so we'll do that. And I'll tell you this, the last time one of my other group webinars lasted an hour was a year ago. I mean, they wind up going for an hour and 15 minutes, an hour and 30 minutes. They go on. I'll stay on the phone as long as people are asking questions and people are getting value out of it. And I have some folks that are come loaded up every time for questions. We do the 3 webinars, first, second, and third Wednesday of every month. And, we'll be focusing on that. Question here, marketing, social networking. Guys, we'll be talking about everything. I was looking the other day. I've got 27 blogs right now. We do Twitter, Facebook, you name it. We'll cover everything that will be of value to folks in the webinars. And again, that'll be something we kind of learn from doing the initial assessment. But at the end of the day, in your own personal time, I'm glad to cover anything you're looking for. I mean, we can talk about, I sat with somebody the other day and showed them how to create a website. Like, if you haven't seen, by the way, the jjacobus.com website, that's a WordPress site. That cost me $300 to do. And it's quite frankly, it's effective as any website I've ever done. And I was showing one of my speaker buddies how to do that website. Literally just over the webinar, I showed this is how you do it, okay? So in your personal time, we can cover anything you want to. And we'll make sure that you get what you want out of it. So let's see here. On your website, I can't find the cost of the program. It should be down at the very bottom of that page. If I haven't got it up there, specific URL, we can go to the info, the coaching. If you go to ottgwebinars.wordpress.com, at the top of the page, there's 3 navigation bars, and the OTTG coaching and mentoring program, you can click on it, and it'll show you what the pricing is. At the very bottom of it, the pricing's listed. And if I get out of this and go to that, I'm afraid I'll lose this, but I'm really certain that I put it down there. I will double check when we get through. Okay, and it's, again, I'll send out some information on this, guys, and make sure you get it. I didn't want to take up our time today. I made a commitment that when we do these things, we're not going to sell you stuff, and I don't want to get in the habit of doing that. I want to make sure these things are pure and clean. But I did just want to let you know that it's there. If you've got questions, email me, jim@jjacobus.com, or you can call me if you want to. Call me here in the office when we get through, and I'll be glad to answer your questions. So anyway, any other questions about today's program? Anything else we can do before we get out of here? Okay, guys. Well, again, 2 weeks from now, we will be doing a webinar on first meetings, and I can tell you what, you're going to love it again. Let's see here. Thanks, Doug. I appreciate that, man. I can't wait myself. I appreciate that message. Looking forward to it. Probably going to be this summer. So anyway, thanks for being here today. Next time, we're going to talk about how to have effective first meetings and how to set those up, and how to establish a value base to our customers so we're seen as trusted advisors from the very start. So I hope you guys have a great day. Give me a shout if you got any questions, and if you're interested in the coaching deal, let me know. It's going to fill up really quick. So again, I've already got most of it filled, but I've got a couple extra slots. So let me know, and we'd love to have you guys join us. Hope you have a great day. Take care.